That shit is creepy. I just want to say that right now. What's up, guys? The Eerie Lord is here. Welcome to holiday content, I guess, supposedly, sort of. Back at home, as you can see, I guess if you see the white wall dank basement, you know that you know that I'm at home. Whatever you want to call it. The home you guys know when I do these vlogs, because the location will vary between where my actual filming headquarters is. We'll move that there, make it a little more vertical. Yeah, so, holy shit, dude, this is so fucking creepy. I don't even want to look at this. This shit is so fucking creepy. Between this, this unenthusiastic grin with the blue eyes and the fucking beach blonde hair and this, just moldy, wrinkly, decaying skin. This is the creepiest fucking... This is some serious Slender Man shit here, and I just cannot get over it. Of course, the title and the theme of this video is going to be the alpha promo that they released a few days ago. Apologies I couldn't get to it like the moment it happened. Had to transition for the holidays, as you guys probably saw. Circumstances in your own lives. I'm sure you're getting ready for the holiday season. Christmas coming up in a few days as I'm filming this on the 22nd. And I'll be uploading it the same night that I'm filming it. Dude, this is creepy. I won't show the video just for copyright reasons. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to play it. It's not a video I even want to play because it's so fucking creepy. It's Alpha sewing her mask together and putting it on, and you see she's bald from the back. You don't see her face without the mask. You only see her... You see this. This is the only thing you see. And it's got this really creepy, nursery rhyme song telling you to whisper, and it's got like a Jack-in-the-Box, little playful tip-tap piano thing, and it's creepy, man. It's something out of Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, some serious horror shit. And yeah, I think really The Walking Dead has kind of, to people's points, the show has moved in different directions over the past 2 seasons. I think the war with Negan, it really kind of felt like Mad Max, to be honest, because with Negan, he was an overlord dictator. If you've seen Mad Max, the really creepy guy with that big face mask who impregnates all those women, he's chasing the women in the most recent Mad Max movie, the one that came out in 2015. So it was very much warlords. In the face of an apocalypse, how warlords and major groups take over. That was the whole Negan arc, and many groups were subjugated, if I could say the word. Many groups were subjugated under this regime, and it was a war. It was guns, it was explosions, it was a lot of lengthy speeches, it was philosophies, and the walkers were in there, but most of the time the walkers were used as part of the war. Obviously, there's the walker that bit Carl, so you had them in there for a little bit, but most of the time they were just an obstacle, like a bowling pin. Just get out of my way. Walkers, just knock them over, use them, maybe. Rick used them when he surrounded the sanctuary to go on their plan during all-out war. So each side uses the walkers to their advantage because it's a resource. It's like ammunition. It's like a round from an RPG. The walkers are almost like animals, vicious animals that are going to kind of do your bidding if you can corral them and use them to your advantage. We have that in the most extreme sense with Alpha because her and the Whisperers literally blend amongst these walkers, and you don't know who's a walker and who's not. And it's creepy, man. It's really creepy, and we saw a little bit of this in the mid-season finale with the Whisperer that dodges Jesus' sword swing. and just kills him. And we had the other ones jumping out, and the mid-season premiere is going to pick up in that graveyard, and it seems like there's going to be some more action, at least from the trailer. But this is creepy, man. This is really, like, and again, I got to applaud Angela Kang, because I said back during the summer, earlier this year, I did say that I was really looking for a updated approach to The Walking Dead. I wanted to see how a new showrunner would handle the show and what would come of that. And I was obviously super disappointed that Rick Grimes wasn't going to be really in the show. I know he had those 5 episodes, but it's funny because, like I said, the season 9, those first 8 episodes, it almost feels like episodes 6, 7, and 8 should have been in the back half. I almost feel like they should have done just like a mid-season finale, mid-season break when Rick Grimes had his last episode. That's just my opinion. Because the whole thing with Rick Grimes in season 9, it's totally different. It's actually dealing still, you could see those first 5 episodes, you could kind of see that as an epilogue to the Savior arc, to the All Out War arc. Because most of what Rick Grimes is dealing with in those first few episodes of season 9, he's dealing with the year and a half aftermath of the Saviors, and nobody's happy with each other. There's the Saviors that go, they vanish. No one knows what happens to them. Obviously, eventually we find out that it's the Oceanside. Daryl tells Rick when they're trapped in that pit that it was in fact the Oceanside that was corralling the Saviors, most notably Arat, and executing them in the same place where they had people, mainly all of the men in their society, they were executed there. So that was what Rick Grimes dealt with. He dealt with Maggie wanting, because remember, when he got trapped in that hole with Daryl, Maggie was going off to kill Negan. And if you think about it, I mean, I know they had to do it for the sake of Andrew Lincoln, but if you're thinking story-wise, it was really Maggie and Daryl that got Rick into the situation that he was originally in when he was on the horse and then fell and got impaled on the rebar. It was mainly because Rick was in that setting in the first place. Had Maggie not run off to Alexandria to go try and kill Negan, Daryl wouldn't have stepped in, they wouldn't have gone off, and all of that wouldn't have happened. But again, I know they had to set something up because they were going to get rid of Rick regardless because of the whole movie thing and everything we've already discussed, so we don't need to go down that road. But it seemed like season 9 was split. Like those 6 years really divided the show because you had the aftermath of the Savior conflict. Some of those Saviors disappeared. There was like a gunfight. A bunch of the Saviors escaped and turned into just roaming marauders. And then the Saviors were basically officially done with when Carol lit all those marauders on fire, including Regina. Meaning all of the lieutenants just wiped out. All of the lieutenants, all of the major Saviors except Negan, who's in jail, and then Dwight, which I know I've seen interviews. I mean, this might be a video for another day. I've seen that Austin Emilio has talked about Dwight being alive, that he could still come back. I mean, it just seems a little ridiculous. Like, the thing is, 7.5 years have, because from the moment that Daryl banished Dwight, 7.5 years have gone by. Because you have to think, a year and a half after they defeated Negan, and Rick was managing everything, and then after Rick gets taken in the helicopter, 6 years go by. So if you do the math, 7.5 years go by from when Dwight went to go find Sherry, found that note, supposedly he knows where she is from that note, and then they reunited. And they've been, wherever they've been there for 7.5 years. Now, there have been rumors that maybe Dwight and Sherry are with the Whisperers. I don't think so. I mean, the Whisperers are such a spooky, evil, savage group. And Dwight still, I mean, he was with he redeemed himself. He had a whole redemption arc with the whole Saviors conflict. He heeded Daryl's warning for that first year and a half, those first 6 years. It just seems like he went off and did his own thing, and I don't really know how they're going to reincorporate him into the story. Maggie, at least, is with Georgie, the group that had those records and does trading between groups, that random group that just popped up last season. Remember that it was the same episode that Rick and Negan were fighting each other, and then all of a sudden there's this band of hippies that pull up in a hippie van, and you're like, how the hell have these people been? Like, where'd these people come from? So Maggie and baby Herschel, who's now like 7 years old, they're with Georgie, and that's to give Lauren Cohan time to come back onto the show, which Angela Kang has said that there's like a 90% chance it's looking most likely that Lauren Cohan will come back for season 10. Just in time for shit to hit the fan. She'll come back to this whole Whisperer conflict and be like, what the frick is going on here? Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that, because they're going to have to get her caught up to speed on a lot of things, including Jesus' death and just a lot of shit, man. The Whisperers are literally like a fucking like thermonuclear bomb that's going to rip a lot of people apart. But I don't know. I've gone through a lot of topics right now. I mean, because it's been a little bit since I've made a Walking Dead vlog, but I guess the question I'm going to ask you guys is, what do you think about this new footage we got with Alpha? What do you think, like, where do you think the show is going to go? Like, how do you think they're going to handle this? We've seen the trailer where she approaches the hilltop. Supposedly, it looks like they do capture Lydia in the graveyard, and Alpha most likely will go to Hilltop to get Lydia back from Daryl and whoever's at the hilltop. But we also have, we have a lot of questions going into the second half about, obviously, the X's on the back. Daryl and Michonne have those X's on their lower back. Like, what does that mean? It seems like without Rick Grimes, like, the whole communities all working together approach just didn't happen. And the Saviors just ceased to exist. In the comics, the Saviors are still a thing. And the Sanctuary is still like a thriving, not really thriving, but they're still existing at the Sanctuary. I don't think the Sanctuary's abandoned. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we're going to see the Sanctuary because in the preview we see Negan after he breaks out of jail. Negan goes back to the Sanctuary. I think he's going to be pretty disappointed. I think he's most likely going there to find Lucille. I don't know. I mean, God only knows where the hell Lucille is. They haven't shown one indication. Michonne and Negan had a conversation, and Michonne just said that Lucille is somewhere out there. In the comics, it's actually Dwight who has Lucille. To my knowledge, Dwight did not take Lucille after Rick and the group won the war against Negan last season. But yeah, man, so this is really cool, though. I mean, we have our first, this is it. This is Alpha, straight up, head on, and this is Beta, head up, straight on. So, side by side, they're going to look like a menacing duo. I'm just really excited. I'm really excited for this. Let me know what you guys thought of that preview. I mean, that's mainly why I'm making this vlog. I want to know what you guys thought of that epic preview of Alpha and her creepy mask and that creepy music and just, oh, it's getting creepy. I think people should be happy. I mean, generally speaking, like, going through the Facebook comments, like, if you guys recall, I made a video where I went through angry Facebook comments on the Walking Dead Facebook page. I'm looking through comments now, and some people seem to be happy. Like, there are some people saying, oh, I stopped watching the show like 3 seasons ago. But some people who have kept up with it recently are saying, wow, like, the horror aspect's back. Like, ooh, it's spooky and creepy. I want to know what's going to happen. There's a lot of cliffhangers, Negan out of jail, this Whisperer group. There's a lot of interesting things coming to fruition on the show. So I see potentially a rising force of returning fans. I'm not sure. And again, I want your opinion Are you getting back into The Walking Dead? Did that mid-season finale with the Whisper reveal and Jesus' death? Did this preview with Alpha? Did this fucking photo of Beta? Did that get you hyped up? Like what's doing it for you? Is there something The Walking Dead still lacking? Obviously, someone could say Rick Grimes. It does piss me off that both Rick and Carl won't be alive for this Whisperer conflict. In the comics, they are. They're at the central part of it. Carl and Lydia literally have a relationship. Rick has to step in. He meets Alpha. There's a whole thing about it. And then Rick is facing a leadership crisis because people are pissed off about what the Whisperers are doing. And Rick's like, how do I deal with this? He consults Negan. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and they're just not going to get to it. They're going to have to remix it. They've already remixed a lot of stuff, and they can follow the general plot at this point, I think, of what the Whisperers do, like how they scope out the territories, and then they have their setup, and then there's Alpha at the fair, and there's this big... I mean, I don't want to get into big spoilers, but there's a Pike sequence, which is kind of the equivalent of Negan's head bashing, when Negan does the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and bashes his victim. The Whisperers have a similar thing, but it involves Pikes. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say any more than that. But the Whisperers do have an iconic, like, what the F moment where you're just like, your eyes are just popping out of your head the same way Glenn's eye was popping out of his head when Negan was cracking him with that bat. So similar to that season 6 finale, season 7 premiere with Negan and who was he going to kill and smash to death. The Whisperers have a similar scene, not involving smashing, but some different things. Involving Pikes, that's all I'm going to say. It's another iconic comic book moment, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do most likely in the season 9 finale. So that's probably something we're going to look forward to. I sure am. Especially with how spooky these fucking Whisperers look, man. Oh my gosh. That's the thing. I got to keep the beta photo up. Like, at least in this preview, like, he's from afar. He doesn't look too creepy. He looks badass. But Alpha, man, just the lighting on her and just, it's so... I can't even look at it. It's creepy. I don't know how I'm going to watch this show. Disgusting. Like, I mean, it's not... Because I think, like, we've grown used to zombies being horrific and terrorizing and disgusting. But when you mix that with, like, a human being who has, like, rational thought and is, like, rationally deciding to be as dead and motionless and psychotic and just lifeless and immoral as a zombie would be without feeling. It's as if a human is trying to take on the qualities of a zombie, and you're trying to rationalize why would someone do that? And that combined with the look, just it blows your mind. You're just like, wow, this is something I would not want to step anywhere near. And this second half we're gonna jump into the Whisperer culture. It really seems like it. So all these previews are really hyping this up. That's like The Walking Dead's biggest advertising point. They're saying, like, hey, there's this big new group. They're really creepy. It brings back the horror aspect of the show. You're in for a treat. So Samantha Morton and Ryan Hurst. I've seen really good actors. I mean, I know Samantha Morton did those Harry Potter prequels, Fantastic Beasts, and then Ryan Hurst is in, Sons of Anarchy, I believe? One of my friends knew him, knew his work, his previous work, and was really hyped. And one thing for me, I am interested for the TV show, if Negan ever crosses the Whisperers, like how he deals with that. Like knowing how just lean back and just Mr. Joke and, because Negan has nothing to lose now. Like he has no group. Like the Saviors just don't exist anymore. He seemingly has like a kind of friendish relationship with Judith. So maybe he could have some sort of redeeming factor where he wants to protect her from this psychotic group of mask-wearing freaks. I don't know, because, again, in the comics, the threat was that if Negan got out, he could lead the Saviors again, because the Saviors were, as I've probably said 100 times by now, the Saviors still exist in the comics. There's still an operating group with this guy, his name's John, and there's a couple of other leaders in there. But the Saviors just don't exist. They don't exist in like ex-saviors like Alden and Laura. Laura lives in Alexandria on the council, and Alden is a blacksmith in Hilltop in a relationship with Enid. So all of the ex-saviors are now like they've shedded their. It's almost like they're immigrants, like immigrants coming from another country. They've shedded their past. They're no longer, Protestants, Europeans, or whatever they were in Europe. Now they're in America. They have a new identity and they want to live like a new life with a new family. And that's really what the saviors have done. They've left the sanctuary completely, and now they're meshed into the kingdom, the Hilltop, and Alexandria. Probably not Oceanside. I don't think Oceanside's taken any members of the saviors, considering what happened and considering what they were doing, executing them back in the beginning of season 9. But yeah, and then any saviors that were just kind of roaming around are dead. But what I want to know is, how the hell did those marauders live for 6 years? 6 years on the road, like, disease and food. Like, how the hell was Regina and that small group of saviors? Like, what, were they just raiding caravans? And like, it's hard for me to believe that after 6 years, and then they just magically run into Carol and Henry. Like, oh, hey, 6 years. Didn't think we'd bump into each other, even though we're, like, existing in the same orbit. Like, I don't know. I would have thought that Regina and those saviors would have blended with the group at some other point, because they were. And, I mean, again, we did. I think that has to do with the X's. Because we did get a time jump. We had a jump in that. Remember the scene when Carol has her gun pointed at the saviors, and they're all like aimed at each other, and it looks like there's going to be a conflict. And then we don't see the end of that scene. It cuts right to Rick on the horse falling off of his horse and getting impaled. And then when Rick gets back to the camp, nobody's there. Nobody's at the camp, and he's like, bleeding out. He's like, what the hell? Where is everybody? I thought someone would be here to help me, and now there's fucking nobody here. So what happened? Like, what? Because wasn't there gunfire or something? Like, it was very unclear, and you don't get a resolution on it, because there's Rick gets rescued, and then there's that time jump where Judith saves Magna's group. So we don't have an explanation. We don't have any type of explanation. We know that Maggie went to Alexandria. She had that really stressful scene with Negan, but I don't know. There's still a lot of gaps, and I think we're going to get the answers, but it's going to take time. And I'm interested, because you got a lot of moving parts here, and I think this is going to be cool. So I'm not sure, just let me know what other Walking Dead topics you want me to talk about around the holidays. I'll probably be doing more football content, as you guys have probably seen. I mean, there's only 2 more games left of the regular season, and then there's playoffs. I'll most likely want to talk about the playoffs, especially if the Patriots are moving forward. There have been a lot of tumultuous things going on with the Patriots recently, so I'm not sure how hyped my spirits are, but I don't know. If any of you guys like football, just stick around. But for The Walking Dead, let me know if you have any other vlogger suggestions, because we still got like a month and a half until The Walking Dead comes back. It's that second week in February that I'll start doing review vlogs and possibly reaction videos. I'm realizing that my channel doesn't really have anything else to post if I'm not really doing that type of content. And I still like to do stuff on the channel. I might make like an end of the year kind of vlog, and maybe get some opinions and perspectives from you guys. Considering I'm going on my 8-year channel anniversary, which is crazy. Haven't been doing YouTube like consistently every single day. I mean, I was back in high school. I did a lot of video game playthroughs, but as life went on, I got busier. I had to change directions, and if I have time, I'll make a video like that. I'm considering it, so we shall see. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought. I mean, that's the whole point of this vlog. What'd you think of that creepy alpha preview? So peace out. See you later.